Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Evan here with Discover Everything, talking with today's Discovered Spotlight artist, Jaimi Alexander. Jaimi, thank you so much for being here.
Yes, thanks for having me, Evan.
Absolutely. Now, I'm going down the list of things that you do here: producer, relationship guru, makeup professional. The list goes on. You wear many hats and you wear them well. Isn't that right? Um,
Yes.
But now let me ask you, I mean, we can call you a number of things it looks like, but what does Jaimi Alexander say? How about you tell us, who's Jaimi Alexander as a creative, and what is it that Jaimi Alexander does?
Yeah, so thanks for asking. Oh, I love that relationship guru. So fancy. I always got nervous of talking too much about relationships, like I'd be considered that, but it's very interesting to me. So
Yeah.
I would say back in 2014, after I really noticed all the hats I was wearing, I was like, okay, you're going to have to call yourself just Jaimi because we don't know what it's going to be when you get me. And so, what I love about myself and what I'm learning to love even more, especially as the world evolves, is I do what I want to do when I want to do it. And typically that's not how most of us were raised. It was get this job, get your 401k, save, retire. It was
Right.
very linear. And not only am I an air sign, but my purpose is fun and freedom. So I'm like trying to be confined by what the world says we should be, but my heart doesn't function that way. So I have always leaned into whatever projects were on my heart, whether it made sense, whether it was my niche, no matter what, because it's all in alignment with who I am. But I think it's important to explore many facets of yourself, throw many things at the wall, see what sticks. I was talking to a girlfriend of mine and we were best friends in high school and we hadn't caught up in a long time. So after I was kind of getting to my story and telling her how the past decade has gone, she was like blown away. She's like, "You've lived like 4 lives," and she's right. Like I've been very bold and courageous about the way I show up in the world. I didn't think anything of it until I look back and I'm like, wow, I really have
Wow.
been a part of all these amazing things, and I'm so glad I was available to say yes, and I'm so glad I took my own advice by doing what I wanted to do.
That's awesome. That's super sick. I mean, and I'll tell you, as a fellow air sign, I completely empathize with that feeling too. I mean, it is what it is. Marching to the beat of your own drum, and that's just there's nothing better than doing that. So I gotta ask. You talked about
Mhm.
all the different projects you're kind of cycling through. What are the projects that you're currently working on right now?
So currently, I would say I'm in a phase of realignment, rediscovery, and re-identification.
Okay.
So because I started my career after high school, I sold real estate, I did mortgage, I had a small stint where I was on a couple of rap albums, okay? I modeled music videos, background, talk shows, modeling in New York, doing parties. I was on the forefront of influencer marketing before they had a title for that. So Sleepless, that was the first thing, that was the first business I started, Sleepless, the Sleepless Network. So I had my brand ambassadors and my influencer marketers, teams, events. So, I went to New York and have done a bunch of events and management for speakeasies and pairing them with Macy's and just all kinds of things. So now, I had Kings Speak, Queens Glean, which I still
Yeah.
have, my interview series. I've done AfterBuzz TV, Pop Fusion TV, from music video countdowns to after shows, like seriously, anything you name it. And now I'm looking at all this
Yeah.
and I feel like it is the fertile soil for what I decide to do next. So I've
Right.
allowed myself to slow down. This is the first time in life I've ever slowed down, which is
Hmm.
something that I needed to learn and am learning in order to evolve and become even a better version of myself. And I'm allowing myself to work with God and co-create with God and the
Mm,
universe on what's next.
that's interesting.
Yeah. So it's like with all these things that I'm telling you about, it's like, you know, some of it can be ambition, some of it can be ego, some of it can be
Right.
wanting to prove you can handle something or be a part of something, whatever. But now that I'm in this flow and this ease, I really want to continue to be inspired by what I do. So I'm here, I'm moving, I'm available. But before I announce some big, this is what's happening. I'm allowing my past experiences to be the fertile soil that grows the new seeds that I'm planting.
That's awesome. Letting the past inform the present, the future on after that. So
Yeah.
that's amazing. Talk a little bit more about that. I mean, there is kind of this there's this mentality that's out there of this, grind nonstop, always out there, always trying to get better, always working. If you're not doing nothing, then you're not doing nothing, is what a lot of people say. And that a lot of creatives kind of struggle with that too. Do you find merit in slowing down and, kind of just taking everything in versus going as hard as you can to try to make everything you can?
Yeah, that's a great question. I'm glad you addressed that because it's something that we should talk about, especially in this culture. Again, a lot of us can probably look back to how we were raised and be like, "Ooh, that was wrong. That's not right. That's not
Sure.
gonna work."
Yeah.
You know? And all these little memes that we come up with, hustle hard, grind hard. Da, 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 da. I like to tell people rest is productive. You can get a download in 5 days of rest that will carry you to what your next 10-year plan is going to be faster than just grind. Because when you're working too hard, when do you have time to be inspired, to let God work through you? This is a purpose walk. So if you are so busy minded because you're being told you need to be doing something all the time, you could very well miss those little moments and, nudges in your spirit that say, oh, that looks good, but say no, because this is coming. Like, it makes all the difference. And so one thing that I tell people, when I started my first business, my energy, people didn't care. They were a part of it because my energy was so sure, but they didn't know what I was doing because it hadn't been created. This is before influencer marketing. So I'm sitting up here trying to explain everything. And people are looking at me like, oh, maybe you should do this, or you should, trying to make it something they understand. And so that started to deter me from my path. Like, well, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe people aren't getting it. So maybe I should. No, we spend too much time listening to other people, which is my point. So you have to be able to discern in your spirit when it's time for you to rest. I don't care how busy everyone else looks. If you're being called to rest and you need to know what that sounds like for you, you need to do it. The journey is a lot longer than you think, because I used to be that.
Well, all right. On that same note then, all right. So again, so many talents that you got, between everything else that you do, and they're in very different worlds too, I'd say. You got the makeup artist side, and then you've got the host side as well. I've watched a couple of the hosting videos, learned a thing or two myself. So thank you for that.
Yes.
But I gotta ask, when you're balancing, when you're, balancing all these many different hats that you wear, does the creative process change for you, or is there something that's similar between them all?
So fun is the root of everything for me. I like to have fun. So if it seems fun, so when it comes to the makeup thing, I'm more in the beauty world when it comes to producing beauty shoots. And I'm all about natural beauty, because that's who I really am. I'm the girl who wakes up and drinks specific herbal teas, takes my collagen, drinks my water, makes sure I sweat, all these things. But when people are complimenting you, like, you have great skin or teeth and this and that, it gives me an opportunity to share my lifestyle. And that blesses me. And that's fun. Like, oh, you didn't know that? Or, oh, you want to try this? Or, I like this on you and now I tried it and I love, so when it comes to creative energy, or when I do events, I can tell I'm a visionary. So when it comes to the creative process, I'm 100% with my heart. The way I create comes from pure fun, freedom, inspiration, the desire to create space and vision. It's always that way.
And you know what? And I'd say I think that's nail on the head, because all of that shines through every project that you work on, for sure, which is awesome.
You.
Absolutely.
That means a lot. That's
of
like
course,
you want to hear.
Yeah, absolutely. You can see the care that goes into your work, and which is important for, other creatives who are watching this, people trying to get into the creative game. I mean, you've been doing this, you've been self-made, you've been at it for a while now, as folks say. What would you say to somebody looking to become a creator themselves? What's one big piece of advice you would give to them?
Oh, huge. First of all, I'm obsessed with the idea because I believe that we're all created in God's image. And if God is the creator and we're made in his image, then we're creators too. So everybody's creative. I only think the things that deter you from being creative may be outside forces that tell you what you can and can't do, what you do or don't believe about yourself, or a lack mentality of wondering if you have the resources to move forward, which are all things I like to annihilate. I think we are all creators. I am a big supporter of creators. You're here for a purpose. I will never be here again. I was never here before. In this time, in this space, there will never be another Jaimi Alexander exactly this way. So same for you. So what do you have in your heart? Why are you here? We need to see it. We need to experience it. And you need to feel free to let it out, because this is a window that we get to show off, to be purposeful, and to walk in the fullness of who we're created to be. So I would say, I don't care how silly your idea sounds, or if somebody doesn't get it, or no matter what, you hold fast to your vision and your creativity and you go. This is a very personal journey. You don't need a bandstand of people clapping, because they will at some point. But this is about you expressing the fullness of who you are while you're here, and having the courage to do it. And then finding people that support it no matter what it looks like. But this is for everybody. Like, yes.
Absolutely. Stick to your guns. Don't play to the peanut gallery, right?
Period. I mean, that is the biggest thing. People always have something to say, and we get so deterred and nervous. And when things are new, you don't know. And that's okay. Some of us are trailblazing brand new things.
Right.
And some of us are putting a remix on some of the things. It doesn't matter. That is like the biggest thing I would tell anybody. When you get it, run with it. You do not need a yes group.
Absolutely.
You got
right.
this. Yeah.
What would you say is the most challenging aspect of what you do?
The most challenging aspect, and this is what I create from here on will probably be mindset based, because it can be very challenging to keep an even-keeled mindset. I've been in a space where I've made great money and was able to be very generous. And I've been in a space where I was broke, where I was like, I better get something, or this rent, I don't know, so I've experienced a lot of different spectrums on this entrepreneurial journey. And I feel like your mindset is the very first thing that you need to take care of, cultivate, nurture. I spend more time on myself, the way I think, the way I feel, undoing traumas, healing, and understanding why I'm the way I am, and how I do more work on that than any craft. Because if I cannot show up in my right mind, it really doesn't matter how great of an actor I am, how great of a host, if I got all these things, barriers in front of me and triggers going off, or I'm feeling too tight because I need this to work, So you have to have a mindset that's healthy, remain full of faith, It's like, remember your promise, remain full of faith. When things get hard, take a break. Check in with yourself. Am I agitated because I'm hungry, or because I'm not sure how I'm going to pay the rent? Do I need to get a little more rest, or is something coming through? Like, are we taking care of ourselves, where we're asking ourselves questions? Everything flows out of our heart, and our heart and mind and gut are very connected. So to understand that, to do the work on that, to heal yourself, to be in tune with yourself, I think is the greatest work, because you're going to need it. This isn't easy. And that's okay. You can equip yourself to navigate the waters the best that you can.
Totally.
Like, that's within your control. So I would say mindset and self-mastery is at the top of the list to keep yourself sane and swimming when it gets hard and when it gets easy.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Mindset goes so far in this kind of work. So, and it kind of segues right into the next one too. And we talked a little bit about this as well, but you talk about that mindset, right? How has your approach changed? How's your outlook changed since, as a creator, since you've been doing this kind of work?
My outlook has changed a lot. It almost takes us full circle to the back of the top of the conversation, where I needed to understand that I don't have to be busy. I needed to make sure that my blinders were on, and I'm not looking to the right and left about what this person got when, how this got, or what's going on, a little bit too much of that. really does take you off your path when you're not focused. So but this is also why I talk about the mindset and the healing. I'm the oldest daughter. I have two sisters. So I was the one cooking breakfast and helping my sisters. And, I learned to kind of get that reward and that pat on the back for performing. And I didn't realize how much that became being a perfectionist, being organized, doing things right. I didn't realize how much that performative aspect was in my personality, because I thought that's who I had to be. I thought that's what I had to do to be good or to be great. And, we take a lot of these things from our childhood, and it's not that they're bad. My parents were amazing, but, we get our own ideas and we start to formulate our personality. And so what I realized along this journey, I'm dropping things that aren't authentically me. So when I look at things like that, it's like, don't get me wrong, I like to win. I like to, when I was 7 years old and they give you these little questionnaires as a kid, it says, I wish I could, and it leaves a little blank. So what do I write at 7 years old? I wish I could be the boss of the universe. So I was always that girl, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like, I'm going to keep that, but how do I do this with a flow that does not leave me exhausted? So I had to learn some of my, I'll say, toxic traits, if you will, that needed to be refined, polished off, and balanced out. So I can have longevity, function from my core, and it's really maturity and evolving. So that's how things have changed. When I look at things, I can approach it differently and from a more healthier space, because I'm not trying to prove everything, or I'm not trying to do everything myself or be at the top of the Like, I'm good if I wake up and do nothing. I'm still amazing.
There you go.
And that I had to learn.
It's a hard lesson. It's a hard lesson to learn. It really is, but a valuable one at that. So, I mean,
necessary.
Absolutely. I mean, Jaimi, I think those are all the questions that I had. Is there anything that you want to say just about being a creator, just about, I don't know, even being on Discovered? Any of that come to mind right now? One last thing that you would love for all creators, anyone else out there to know about the kind of work you're doing?
Yeah, I would say follow your heart, have faith, follow what resonates with you. Question everything. That's okay. And to say yes. I was always saying yes, even if it wasn't like getting paid the most money or I want to be involved. I want to, not everything is monetary exchange. Yes, you have to make your coin and get your bag and we know, fine. But some of the most amazing projects and things I've been a part of were either little to no pay or a barter situation. But best believe I met someone who linked me to the, and I'm not saying waste your time, find your balance, but it's okay to say yes. You don't have to snub, anything because it doesn't look like the top of the cream of the crop yet. Like, enjoy this process. This is a journey. Pull back and look at things from a bird's eye view. Instead of, this year I want to do this, and this. Why don't you say, this decade I want to do this, and that? Give yourself 10 years. That's something we don't allow ourselves to think. We think we got to mush. I'm going to buy a house. I'm going to marry that. Give yourself a decade. Even look at the past 10 years and watch how proud of yourself you can be. And then do the next 10. So those are just little tips and tools I would share to help you get some longevity. I love Discovered TV and what you guys are doing. You're amazing. Can't wait to see where things go. And I'm happy to be a part of the channel. Like, seriously.
Yeah. And we're happy to have you, honestly. So thank you so much. You can check out Jaimi Alexander's projects on her Discovered channel and page, and you can follow her on Instagram. Jaimi, again, thank you so much for being here. We really look forward to seeing what you come up with next.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. This was fun.